or was that Coach Maneri? How did it sort of take place, and what was your reaction when it was like, oh, wow, I watched them, 14 years ago, and now I have a chance to come play? It's kind of like some, I don't know, storybook kind of stuff there.
Yeah, it definitely came full circle. The Monty was on me, starting in February. I'd kind of had, 2 good years, and after, the former staff was kind of let go, and Monty knew that he was going to be retained. He stayed on me, and, they offered me under the, the coaching of Coach Maneri, and, what's not to love about that? An A-class program and a world-class coach. He's the college wins leader first day on the job, and the chance to play for a program and a coach like that is, you can't pass that up.
Can hang out with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball, talking about Monty Lee there, and we've talked to so many players that have been around for a couple of years, and they preach how much they love Monty Lee, and a lot of them wanted him to become the head coach once they'd moved on from Coach Kingston. In your short time of having a relationship with him, what stuck out to you about Monty Lee?
Monty's one of the best hitting minds I think I've ever been around. He understands the process, and hitting is more than just putting bat to ball. He understands what pitches you're trying to hunt, how you're going to do damage, and ultimately get in runs. And that's something Monty and Coach Maneri both been really big on. Situational hitting and being able to do the job the team needs you to do, and being able to expand my knowledge in that regard has been huge. And this guy, he's someone that if he needs to get on you a little bit and move you along, he's going to. But at the end of the day, he does it because he really cares about you and your development, and wants the best for you and for the program as well.
Jace, what was it like growing up in the state of Nebraska and just being, like you said, less than an hour away from Omaha? I know football is obviously big in Nebraska as well, but I got to imagine there's a carryover effect to just the importance of the College World Series, like being right there, and then maybe you and your classmates kind of growing up just dreaming of playing on a stage like that. How just important was baseball kind of to like the community or culture around you growing up, man?
Baseball was huge. My dad was a baseball player. He played at Kansas State University, in the early 90s. So he was kind of my original inspiration. I grew up, he was a high school baseball coach, or helped out with the high schools for years. So I grew up in that environment too. And I think that I did my first bat boy job actually at the age of 4. So that's all I ever really known. I grew up on a diamond, and that's, where I've chose to spend my days. I love it. And yeah, football is huge in the state of Nebraska, but, and I was never really a football guy. I always stuck with baseball, and being able to go to the College World Series, kind of like you said, it's an unreal atmosphere. And, for the Gamecock fans that haven't made that trip out there, looking forward to bringing you guys out there with us here, this June like that.
And talking to Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball, how many trips have you made to the College World Series in your lifetime?
My first trip was in 2010. Watching Carolina play at Rosenblatt. My dad wanted me to be able to go to a game there before they shut it down. And then I think I went in almost a decade straight. Obviously, they didn't have that season in 2020, and that was, a bummer. But I think I've gone every year since 2010 except maybe twice, maybe once. So, yeah, it's a priority. As a guy who always wanted to play college baseball at the highest level, it's something you have to go watch.
You mentioned seeing the last one at Rosenblatt, where South Carolina won that first one back in 2010. Locally there in Nebraska, what was the vibe around them moving on from Rosenblatt and going to TD Ameritrade?
It was exciting. Rosenblatt, the ambiance that stadium had, it was the mecca of college baseball, but ultimately it was time to kind of move on, and the stadium had repairs that needed to get done, and it didn't make much sense. There was no space, and once they opened the new stadium, TD Ameritrade, I think it's Charles Schwab now, but when they opened TD Ameritrade, the buzz in that stadium was unreal. It was so loud, and there's so many people there, and it was just, I kind of get chills thinking about it. It was awesome. That was, as a little kid, about probably 10 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old, whatever I was. Like, it was awesome. I get chills kind of just thinking about it.
Have you ever heard the story about Ray Tanner, obviously the head coach at the time? Mm-hmm. South Carolina obviously wins the final game at Rosenblatt, and then they're on the bus, celebrated, all, wrapping up the night. And before they leave, they drive over to the site of the new stadium. And basically he goes ahead and plants the seed to the entire team at the time. Like, hey, we finished things over there. Our goal, they've just won the title. Just plants the seed. Our goal is to be there next year. I always thought that was pretty special.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I had no idea that happened. Then
and then they did.
They took care of business.
That's calling your shot for sure. Yeah. Is there a particular World Series, again, getting to see Carolina win their first one back in 2010, any like team or particular World Series that stands out to you as your favorite from what you've seen?
I think my favorite game actually that I got to watch at the College World Series was 2021 Vanderbilt versus NC State. Jack Leiter threw. It was the first time before NC State had the issues with COVID. Jack Leiter threw that day. Obviously phenomenal arm talent. And NC State ended up winning that game 1-0 on like a 440-foot home run. And me and my best friend actually were sitting out in left center watching that game. And, it was a day game, so it's hot. It was a pitcher's duel. And, I was, the baseball guy in me loved the competition. It was tight the whole way. It was just a fun game to watch.
Kind of old school pitcher's duel. Did you have a MLB team growing up?
Yeah, I was a Kansas City Royals guy, so it's been up and down.
yeah. There's been some ups though lately.
Yeah, we got a pretty bright young core. The 2014, 2015 teams were fun. I went to a couple, ALDS, ALCS, and even a World Series game in 2015. So that was a pretty cool atmosphere to be able to go see, especially comparing that to the College World Series just a couple months prior.
What players did you look up to coming up?
My favorite player growing up was Alex Gordon. He played left field for the Kansas City Royals, and he was actually from Lincoln. My dad actually coached him his senior year in high school and kind of called the shot like, yeah, we're gonna be paying to watch this kid play someday. So I grew up adoring him. I wore number 4 all growing up because of him. Like I was, he's like 6'1", 6'2", just around my size, and threw right-handed, hit left-handed, and I tried to emulate him in every way possible.
So you throw righty, hit lefty?
Yeah.
We see that a lot in baseball. How did that? I hear like different stories on how it played out. Was it one of those things where somebody like your dad or something was like, "Hey, you need to be a lefty hitter," and you just started kind of working on it at such a young age? I see you shaking your head. Yes, was that your story?
Yeah, my dad, especially him being a pitcher, he knew that I always hated facing left-handed batters. So if my kid's gonna swing, I'm gonna have at least one that swings from the left side. So he kind of forced the bat into my left hand, but he made me throw right-handed as well, because that way you can play pretty much every position on the field. So yeah, no, I definitely got forced into that.
How early were you? Like the second you picked up a bat, it was all right, you're gonna be a lefty hitter.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I used to stand with a little wiffle ball bat and watch, college games, MLB games in our living room. And even when I was standing there acting like I was a hitter in the box, my dad made me.
You were a lefty in those moments.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have a choice.
So if you picked up a bat, can you swing righty at all, or it's just?
No, I can't.
It's just not there.
Maybe I can golf a little bit right-handed, ironically, but I'm not much of a golfer anyway. So that's about the extent of my right-handed swing.
So there was never any attempt to be a switch hitter at any point?
No. My dad's mentality was, master one and then you can move on to the other. Yeah. And still haven't really, you can't really master one because the game's always changing.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated by the, throwing righty, hitting. Do you write right-handed, I'm guessing. Everything else is probably righty for the most part.
I do everything right-handed. But I brush my teeth left-handed though.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. So that's what the one thing I do left-handed, and that's stemming back I think to my mom actually, because she wanted me to do more things to be able to use both my hands, I guess. So yeah, no, my parents kind of forced me to use my left.
Yeah,
that's a credit to them, I think.
Yeah,
It ended up working out, obviously.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Hanging out with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. Have more as the Gamecock Club Hour, presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating, rolls on your Thursday here on The Game.
All right, guys, you know it. This episode of Gamecock Club Hour, like all of them, brought to you by our friends over at Krantz Cooling and Heating. Head on over to KrantzCooling.com. That's Krantz with a K, Cooling with a K.com. You get more ideas about their services. Obviously, the weather is changing, starting to get cold out. You want to make sure that you have all your preventative maintenance handled now before you need Krantz Cooling and Heating later on. They can handle pretty much anything that has to do with your HVAC, whether that's a complete replacement and installation or just, like I said, preventative maintenance. Maybe you've got an area of the house that you want to upgrade in terms of indoor air quality or go with a ductless AC system in order to get one part of your house that maybe doesn't quite get as much air as the rest of it. Again, our family-owned and operated friends over at Krantz Cooling and Heating are going to take care of any and all of your HVAC needs. Call them today, 803-672-3224. Again, that's KrantzCooling.com.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Club Hour, presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler West Mitchell hanging out with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. You transferred over from Kansas City, Kansas Community College. Just last week, we had your now new teammate from Johnson County Community College in Brandon Stone. Looks like you guys went head-to-head last year, and by the looks of it, it looks like you got the better of him.
Yeah, that was a fun matchup. I unfortunately wasn't able to play our first time that we squared off against each other. I was just coming off of a broken hamate surgery, actually, and the doctors they wouldn't let me play in that game. I was 21 days post-op at that point, but they did let me play the next day, and when he wasn't throwing, unfortunately. Those 24 hours, I guess, made a big difference in their mind. But Stone's a phenomenal, arm. He's a young guy too. Only did 1 year at Johnson County and, put up unreal numbers. So I definitely had that matchup circled a little bit. You want to compete against the best, and he was one of the best arms in junior college, if not the best. And that was a fun day. I still like to give him a little bit of a hard time for it.
For reference, he threw that entire game, went all 9 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs. You went 3 for 4 with an RBI.
Yeah, I jumped on I can walk you through every at-bat that day.
Go right ahead.
Jumped on a fastball early in my first at-bat. I think he struck out the side in the first, I think. And then I came up there in the second inning, and first pitch fastball, put it in the right center field gap, through the exact pitch that I was hunting. And then my next at-bat, I came up, I think it was bases empty. And I ended up, shooting one up the middle on a slider, actually. So I was 2 for 2 at that point. And then I think it was like the 6th inning when I came up for my third at-bat. And I hit a fastball again, back up the middle, and that was the one that scored the run. I picked up my RBI there. And then, in like the 8th inning, I think, was my final at-bat. He actually ended up getting me on a curveball, which I didn't even know that he had at that point. So tipped the cap there. It took his 5th pitch to finally get me in that one. But
Just pointing that out.
Yeah, exactly. No, Stone's a great guy. Really, it's been fun to get to know him on, and be in the same uniform this fall. Really enjoy him and his insight and just the way that he approaches pitching. Like, I think understanding that and like how guys are gonna attack me, I think that's huge, because then I can build my approach even more and ultimately have more success at the plate.
So you're one of these guys that just remembers all your ABs.
Yeah, I can walk you through pretty much everything. I like to think that I have a pretty decent memory, especially when it comes to things that I really care about. And baseball's been my first love ever since I could remember. So I can walk you through a lot of at bats. There's a lot in my swing bank, is what I call it.
Is that a blessing and a curse? Or just a blessing? Like, because I feel like there's probably, everybody's going to have an AB that you're like, I just got to flush that and move on. But at the same time, especially if you're going to see a pitcher, like you start talking about conference play or series where maybe you're going to see a guy multiple times, you start kind of remembering, all right, this is how they tried to get me out last time. Can I use that to my advantage next time? I mean, obviously, like you said, you're going to be hunting specific pitches in certain situations with that knowledge.
Yeah, I definitely, it could be perceived as a curse, but I like to think of it as, it's a blessing all the way around, because either I have success or I have a lesson and I learned that, and I'm always receiving and retaining information. And then I can compare, even if I haven't seen a guy, I can kind of look at the scouting report and see, how tall he is, what his makeup is, what his pitch repertoire looks like. And I can compare it to guys that I've seen before in the past. And, even if I haven't seen this exact guy, I can, kind of see somebody like him.
What is your, this is just big picture. What are your thoughts on analytics and technology within baseball versus just like old school mechanics and just say go the opposite way and just kind of old school thinking? I know it's got to be some balance somewhere in there, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the game is changing, every single day. And, if you're not, keeping up with the analytics, then you're going to fall behind. But at the end of the day, like, it's the same game. It's, the rules haven't changed. The goal is still to touch home plate more than the other guys. And, there's a happy medium definitely, but, it's analytics are going to be a part of the game and everything, not just baseball, but in all sports, because it's more intense, like, especially, in the best conference in college baseball in the SEC, like, you're going to have to find a way to, have some sort of advantage against guys that are extremely talented on, all throughout the conference.
Again, talking to Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. By the way, you nailed that. I went through the play-by-play, and you got all those right from when those things happened and what exactly you did. So bravo to you on that. You mentioned
fact-checked him.
I did. I was
real time.
I just wanted to see how accurate he was, and he was right on the money with all those. You mentioned, you kind of knew that Brandon was one of the better pitchers at that level before facing him, and then you had success against him. Did that kind of give you an idea that you might have the opportunity to be good enough to play at the next level, or was that something you knew beforehand? Like, how did that come about to see yourself getting to a place like South Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it was a little bit of added, motivation or added, success. Made me feel a little bit better. But I like to think that, I've always known in my heart of hearts that I am somebody that can compete at this level and, have success. Like, my dad told me, from when I was a little kid going to the games at Rosenblatt, in awe and watching all these, stars in college baseball. If you don't believe in yourself, then how can you expect anybody else to? And, from that day forward, I've always had the utmost confidence in myself and in my ability. And, I've taken that every single step of my, baseball journey since then. And, getting that success, off of Brandon, last spring, obviously it, helped me see it a little bit clearer, but, I've always known that, this is something that I can do.
So you guys have been competing a ton here throughout the fall. Seems like every time I look, it's, hey, baseball scrimmage today or baseball scrimmage tomorrow, like just a lot of head-to-head. You and your teammates kind of iron sharpens iron to get better. But what has that competition been like with the depth on this team, both, at the plate and, lots of arms, obviously, too?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's every single day you're going out there, regardless of who's on the mound, regardless of, who's on the other side of the ball. Like, it's going to be a chance to compete and, just show what you have and do your best. And, the beauty of it is as soon as you walk off the field one day, it's over, it's done with. And, you're only as good as your next at bat. You're only as good as the next play. And you just keep rolling. So you take the good days with the bad and you keep competing because, at the end of the day, you're working to, make each other better and, ultimately go to Omaha.
What does your production look like so far this fall?
I've, kind of bounced around a little bit, played some outfield, played some first base, swung it, I like to think fairly well, from the left side. I started to see, the ball go over the wall a little bit more as of late. I think I had a home run in the Air Force game. And, it had a couple then the week following, I think. So, it's cool to see the ball start going out of the yard a little bit. But, I like to think that I'm just a guy that hits balls hard and has success in that regard. And I've done that all fall. So, it's been fun. It's been fun, good to see, even at the highest level in college baseball, I can still have success that I'm kind of accustomed to.
You mentioned Air Force, and then you guys are going to play Charleston tonight. What do you think are the advantages to just not only being able to scrimmage like intra-squad, but to bring a couple of other opponents in? And it seemed like that was a pretty cool day at the park, just with I know they had the guys parachuting in at the beginning, and just there was some – it was kind of some, like, pomp and circumstance, like some excitement to it, as opposed to just being, it's a scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to go and, see outside competition because you kind of get to see where you stack up against them. You see, where you compare, that you have talent in your program. And, we certainly do. But you want to see on a national stage where you're stacking up, like who's really gonna show out when the lights come on. And the Air Force Day was an awesome day. That was so much fun. The parachutes, even all the cadets from the academy. I mean, awesome guys. Got to talk to them. Got to talk to Coach Kaz over there at the Air Force Academy, and phenomenal people. And I'd just like to thank them for their service and everything that they're gonna do. They here at South Carolina, like everybody comes and their goal is play professional baseball. A lot of the cadets, when they go there, they know that they're not going to have a future in baseball, and they're trying to serve our country. I mean, and some of them are going to make the ultimate sacrifice, and there's no way that any of us can ever repay that. So it was cool to finally put a name to a face and get to meet all of them and, bond over a children's game.
Is the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler and West hanging out with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. Coming up today from 12 until 2, Elijah Campbell going to be hanging out at the Dillon Columbia Supply Company at 320 Oxford Drive in West Columbia. Go by and see him. He'll be checking in with myself and Terry Ford during the halftime show as well. More of the Gamecock Club Hour coming up next on your Thursday here in the game.
All right, guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Classic Roofing. Head on over right now, classicroofingsc.com, or just give them a call, 803-590-7870, where you can go ahead and set up a free estimate at your home of your roof or your business. Taking good care of that roof, it could be challenging, but you do not have to do it alone. Friends at Classic Roofing are going to help you every single step of the way with years of expertise under their hats. Again, that could be for your home or for your business. They're going to take care of any and all of those roofing needs for you. And obviously, it's one of the really most expensive parts of your home, so you want to make sure that you are covered. Why would you go ahead and get a free estimate? One, you want to make sure there's not any small things that could one day become big things that they could go ahead and take care of now. And you can also get an idea of how much life is left on your roof, so you can go ahead and plan for those changes later on. Again, that website, classicroofingsc.com, or just give them a call, 803-590-7870.
Welcome back in Gamecock Club Hour presented by Grant's Cooling and Heating. Tyler Head, West Mitchell, hanging out with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. We always like to get to know the player off the field a little bit when you're not doing baseball-related things. How are you kicking back and having a good time?
I love to fish. I love to be outdoors. I'm a huge outdoors guy. Part of that's probably being from the Midwest. We go outside. I grew up playing 3 sports. Even in high school, I played basketball and I actually played tennis. I actually won a state title on that my junior year in high scholl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anything active, like I love to do. I love to be outside. I also love to cook. So I'll make all sorts of pasta and fajitas, make it from scratch. I kind of get that love from my grandma. She was a huge cook and loved to bake, and I kind of come by that honestly. So I get that from her. Go to church every weekend. It's something important to me. My faith is very important. I take that very seriously, and I'm just kind of a regular guy. I love to hang out with my friends.
Very well-rounded, Jace. I'm impressed with the tennis state championship, man. So wait, are we swinging the racket lefty or right? How?
So I swung the racket, technically right-handed. I would hit my forehand right-handed, and then I hit my backhand left-handed, which kind of messed with the baseball swing a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So I haven't picked up a racket in probably, 2 years at this point. Now that I don't play tennis, competitively anymore or really at all, I figured that I better, put the kibosh on that until the baseball career is over. But I love tennis. I think that there's great cross conditioning, and that, going forward, back, moving side to side, and it's also a very mental sport. You have to be able to, handle, the ups and downs by yourself out there, because you can't really get coached. In high school tennis, you couldn't get coached between points, only when you changed over sides. So if you were struggling, you either had to figure out a way to get through it or you're just going to implode. So
I didn't know. So it's you against you at that point. Like if you're struggling, it's I gotta find a way out of this, or we're just not winning this point.
Yeah, it definitely is like that. There were games where I just suddenly couldn't hit a serve, and I'm like, wow, what's going wrong? And you try a thing or two and try to figure it out, and if not, you couldn't figure it out, then you're down a game there.
Hey, with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball, any prospects of playing tennis at the college level at all?
Yeah, actually, I had a couple, D3 and NAIAs, kind of recruiting me to play tennis. I actually had about as many recruiting me to play tennis as I did baseball out of high school. I was maybe a little humbling, I guess, from the baseball side, because I'd never really had that many ambitions for playing college tennis. But it was a lot of fun, and I played with some of my best friends in high school.
Now, how do we feel about pickleball?
I love pickleball. Pickleball's
So you play some, or?
Yeah, my family is actually pretty big into that. I've played that now that my tennis days are over.
Does it scratch the same itch?
Yeah, that and ping pong. We have a table in our basement in my house in Lincoln, and there's already been some smack talk in the siblings group chat for some ping pong tournaments over Thanksgiving and the holiday season.
Now, did you tell your family you were doing the radio today? Are they listening in?
I did tell them, actually, and they're actually here. They flew in to Columbia last night. They're going to go down to Charleston and watch the game. I don't know if they're listening, though. I kind of...
We'll send them the podcast link later. They can
always
after.
watch back on the Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, powered by Integrated Media.
There you go.
Throw that in there.
What has your family meant to you just in your on and off the field success at this point?
They mean everything to me. They've been there every single step of the way for me, even when, the path wasn't clear, or, there are some big decisions to be made. I've always been able to lean back on them and bounce ideas off of them. Especially my dad, him being a baseball guy has always been a huge help to me, because I can talk to him, and he gets it. Like, he's been through it. He played, at Kansas State, like I said earlier. And, the game's changed a little bit from the early 90s to today. But like I said earlier when we were talking analytics, it's still the same game. I mean, we still have to, still 9 guys against 9 guys and competing for the win.
What's the family makeup, brothers, sisters?
So I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister and 2 younger brothers. But my parents, they had 4 kids in 5 years, actually. So it's
okay.
Yeah, no, it's very competitive. And unfortunately, my brothers have surpassed me in height a little bit. I got to 6'3" and stopped, and they're now 6'5" and just under 6'7". So they can hang with me a little bit now. It's kind of scary. At least when we're playing basketball, I still take the cake in baseball. That's not even it's not a question. And in ping pong and pool, and they're just not there yet.
Just throw that part out there. So yeah, we talked tennis and baseball. Obviously, how were you in basketball coming up? Pretty good.
Yeah, I wasn't bad. I was it was my 3rd sport. I wasn't always a huge basketball guy. It was more like, all right, it's baseball season, I'm playing baseball, and it's tennis season, I'm playing tennis, and it's basketball season, and I'm still playing baseball. So I was always kind of basketball was over the winter months, and in the winter months you're stuck inside, obviously in Nebraska because it's cold, and I'd kind of look forward to getting done with basketball practice and to go to the batting cages and get my work in for the night. So I definitely I wasn't bad, but by no means was that my first sport.
How much did that benefit you for baseball? Anything particular that kind of crosses over?
I think that the thing that's kind of lost nowadays with kids just playing one sport and training year round for that is you're not competing. That was the beautiful thing about me playing 3 sports is I was always competing. I was going against guys and in baseball on the field, I was going against guys in tennis on the court, and even on the basketball court. Like I was always going man on man and just trying to find a way to beat them. And I was not always the most talented guy on the court, but I still try to find a way to win. And I think that's something that's kind of getting lost nowadays with just one sport.
Jace, you're obviously, I can tell you're a thinker. And when I say analytical, I don't mean basically more like analytics, but more like, okay, here's the situation I'm in. Let me think my way through the best way to get the best of this situation. So, what did you think as a guy who's played first base and third base of the play in the World Series where Rizzo waits back, bases are loaded? I mean, I know pitcher's fielding practice is I feel like it's the first thing you do when you start a new high school baseball season, but what was going through your mind on rewatching that play? I think there's a lot of high school baseball coaches that just probably fell off their couch when they saw that.
Yeah, that one hurt the heart. It really did. And I'm not really a Yankees fan or a Dodgers fan. I was just a baseball fan watching. And hindsight 2020, Rizzo probably should have gone and got that. But it was spinning funky, so Garrett Cole needed to get over too. It was kind of just a one of those plays you can't practice enough, and it happens.
And
it's
can you imagine? Can you imagine though being I'm a Braves fan. I cannot imagine being a Yankees fan and losing. You didn't lose the World Series, but you really lost an opportunity at the World Series on really a non-hustle play. I feel like.
Yeah, that was brutal. That was hard to watch as a baseball guy.
Going to be talking about that one for a long time, that's for sure. We'll come back and wrap up today's edition of the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball here on your Thursday on the Game. Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Hanging out for a few more minutes with Jace Woita from Gamecock Baseball. We mentioned food briefly in that last segment, but we were talking in the break there. You're a clean eater. If you have no restrictions, you can eat literally anything that you want. I haven't to worry about health or anything like that. What are we eating?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I love a good burger. I love a good steak, especially from Nebraska. Like we have great steaks. We
Omaha
really do.
steaks.
Yep, exactly.
There you go.
You know. But no, my favorite meal of choice. If I had one last meal, I'm going a chicken fried steak, and then I'm gonna go, mashed potatoes with a dark gravy, some corn on the cob, some green beans, and then if I get to pick my dessert, I'm going apple cobbler with some homemade ice cream. That's there's a restaurant in the small town that my dad's from in Nebraska that they made my favorite chicken fried steak ever, and that was every time we'd go out, like go deer hunting, back up in his quote unquote neck of the woods. I would go and we'd get that the first night, and it not the healthiest food out there, but once a year doesn't ever hurt.
That is comfort food to a T right there.
Yeah, I could tell you were painting a picture of a specific meal. Like that was not just made up. Like you were picturing that.
No,
in your head, I think.
Yeah, no, I definitely have that. The plate. I can see it.
The image
right
in your
now.
head.
Yeah, sitting at the wooden table in the back corner in North Bend, Nebraska. Great chicken fried steak.
So I got to go to Omaha when Carolina was out there. Have you ever been to the Drover and had a steak?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, that's like I don't know if it's actually the best steakhouse, but for all the people out here going out there, that was like sort of deemed, you ask around like, hey, where do I need to go? The Drover was like, this is where you get your steak from if you're going to Omaha. So, and it, lived up. Actually, one of the best salads, strangely enough, I've ever had, and the best ribeye. One of the best ribeyes I've ever had. So,
Omaha's a great food scene. It really does, especially down in the old market. There's some great restaurants down there. That was always a fun thing to go do. We'd go to the College World Series, and if it's a night game that we went to, we'd go eat before, or if it's a day game, we'd go eat right after. And yeah, never really had a bad day at the ballpark or a bad day of eating afterwards.
Have any of your teammates got you on the Cava hook? They come in here and just about every one of them says how much they love it.
Yeah, we don't have any in Nebraska, so like that was a whole new thing for me. It's really good. I love especially the pita chips, or the crisp, whatever you want to call them. Those are unreal. I've spent a couple or drove a couple times over there. And got the Cava. Is that how you say it? Cava, yeah.
They're missing out on the NIL opportunities.
It's right there.
I think. They need to
just down the
hit
street.
these guys up. They're ready and willing to talk them up. Speaking of NIL, this is a Gamecock Club interview. What has the NIL and just let's lump it all in, fan support, Gamecock Club support been like for you and your time here at South Carolina so far?
The fan support's been unbelievable. The Carolina faithful have truly lived up to all the hype, and it's been awesome to get to know all them. Gamecock Club's been huge, connecting us. We actually had the Halloween party out at Founders, for the Junior Gamecock Club, probably, toward the end of October, and that was an awesome event. It was great to get out and meet everybody.
How excited are you to see Founders Park just, packed, big? Let's fast forward. Big SEC environment, another top team rolling in. Pretty special. You don't get that everywhere. So how excited are you for that, man?
I'm really excited. Good buddy of mine is at Tennessee. Actually, he just won a national title this past year, and his favorite place to come and play is Founders. He said it's unreal atmosphere, unreal fans. Like it's just can't beat it. And I'm excited to witness that. With our support, like they're not going against us. Like he's had to witness, like they're cheering for us. It'll be fun.
I was going to say, so you wouldn't have had the opportunity to come visit during the season, so you've never seen it at full throat, full capacity, right?
No, I haven't. I've never. My first game where we had a good showing was the Air Force game. That was first time I've got to see the Carolina faithful out and about.
It'll be special when the spring rolls around, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, man, this has been good. This has been fun. Jace, we appreciate you hopping by, man. How excited are we as well about tonight? Hopefully, it looks like y'all are gonna give it. Y'all are gonna go play, regardless of this weather. And I know it's another opportunity to get out and play another opponent as opposed to just your teammates.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. It's another chance to go compete, so really looking forward to that.
You've been here on campus for a while, and I'm sure you've gotten out to some of the football games as well. Obviously, crazy environment this past Saturday against A&M. Were you in the house for that one, and what were your thoughts on that?
Unfortunately, I was not. I was kind of feeling a little bit under the weather. My allergies have been getting the best of me for the last 2 weeks, so I was really bummed I wasn't out there, but I did watch it. I watched the whole game on the couch. That was crazy, so can't wait to have that kind of environment at Founders.
Oh, absolutely, and we're very excited about this team and everything like that, and certainly hope you guys get to Omaha, and when y'all get there, I guess you can show everybody around, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been telling everybody, I was like, we'll have to take a little field trip, and I can show everybody around all the ins and outs, and take everybody to Runza. That's a good one.
Yeah, Jace, like I said, man, appreciate you coming out, and you've talked up Omaha so much that I don't want to put any pressure on you, but let's make it happen.
Oh, 100%. That's the goal. There's no other option. It's just going to Omaha.
It's going to be exciting. Again, it'll be the first year of the Palmer era, who, again, has a pedigree at Omaha with the national championship at LSU a couple years ago and everything as well. So excited to see what happens, and I certainly appreciate you hanging out with us today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. This was awesome.
That'll wrap it up for today's edition of the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Coming up next in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, we'll get back into breaking down South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Huge matchup coming up this Saturday. Neither team ranked in the committee's top 25, but an opportunity to jump into next week's rankings with a victory this Saturday. We'll talk to Chris Lee from VandySports.com coming up at 11:30. Also, starting off the hour, get into a little bit of the injury report. Some significant names showing up on Vandy's injury report ahead of this weekend, as well as a new name for South Carolina's that may have taken some people by surprise. Again, that's all coming up next in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. This has been the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating on your Thursday here on the Game.